Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live question and answer class for American English pronunciation and American accent. I host this class each week on YouTube so that you can ask your questions about what you'd like help pronouncing. Of course, you can also leave your comments, your questions in a comment throughout the week on our Word of the Day videos or on any of our other new videos each week. I do go through all of the comments, send you links, and also make note of what you'd like me to talk about in future classes. But if you'd like to ask questions live, you can attend our classes Saturday mornings, 9:15 Seattle time, 12:15 Eastern time here in the US. If you watch on Facebook, you'll need to jump over to YouTube using the link in order to be able to ask questions, because I can only monitor the chat in YouTube. So at the beginning each week, we usually talk about a topic. Sometimes it's something someone has requested throughout the week. Lately, we've been talking about spelling and sounds. And today I want to talk a little bit about the R and TH sounds and when they happen together. So a viewer was requesting, saying it's difficult for them to say phrases like for them or were they, where there's an R sound and then a TH sound following immediately after. So I want to give you some ways to practice this to make it a little bit easier, since the R and TH sounds are some of the more difficult sounds to pronounce in English. I do have several videos talking about how to do words that have THER, like other and neither. Also, some that talk about how to say THR words like three and through. After class today, I'll put those links in the comments and the description for this video so you can get more help on that topic. But let's look specifically at R followed by TH. So for example, for them, were they, how do I do this so smoothly? Basically, you want to work on your R sound and your TH sound separately to get them very solid. Getting those tongue positions can be difficult. Once you have your R and your TH, then try putting them together. So use my American R playlist and my American TH playlist to help you with those sounds. When I'm saying something like for them, first of all, notice that I'm not doing a clear or here. The for word is not important in this phrase. Them is important for them. So this is really going to get reduced down to more of a fur or fur with that sound. And to go from them, my tongue is back and tight for the R, and the TH just sneaks forward to put the tongue between the teeth for the them. So you can, when you remove the words, sometimes it can be helpful. So for example, try just saying earth. And we do this in the word earth with a voiceless TH. So earth, them, for them. Kind of taking it out of the words may help unblock some of that connection. Also, just go slowly between Feel what your tongue has to do to move between the two. If I can do slowly, for them, them, you may find that doing those isolated movements can really help you when it comes to saying these phrases with more confidence and more connection. Same thing with were they? Depending on the phrase, if I'm saying were they going, were they talking, this is going to be the stressed word. If I'm just saying were they, then were is more important. I'm going to hold the were a little longer. Were they? I still have to go from to the. Were they? But it'll sound a little different than for them. For them, slow, quick, slow. For them, were they? I'm holding the a little bit longer, have a little more time on that R sound. So unfortunately, there's no easy fix for these sounds. It's really about feeling solid and confident in both mouth positions and practicing going back and forth. But if you just pull out those sounds and then try coming up with common phrases, use my videos for R and for TH to learn which words we use the most that have them. But R, were, for, or fur, they, them, that, this, those. There's many, many common words. Put two of those common words together and practice it a lot. That's how you're mostly going to have to say these sounds when you're speaking, and practicing those common combinations of sounds and words is going to be really helpful when it comes to it feeling more smooth and more easy in your speech. Okay, thank you for that request. I'll go ahead and start looking at your requests now for those of you who are here live. Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Again, if you're watching on Facebook and you have a question, jump over to the YouTube by clicking on the link, and you can type your question in the chat. I'll answer it for you live. Okay, we have a question about the word lieutenant. Do you pronounce lieutenant with lu of LED in the first syllable? Lieutenant. I'm not exactly sure what your question means. In the word lieutenant, the lu is the oo sound. So we spell lieutenant like we spell in lieu of. Lieutenant. The stress is on the 10 syllable, lieutenant. So we do still have that clear oo sound. It might be a little shorter than in the word, for example, in lieu, we might hold that oo longer. In lieutenant, because the stress is on the 10 syllable, lieutenant. We have a little schwa there and a stopped T. Yeah, I'm thinking, oh, you corrected yourself. Oh, so like lieutenant, yeah, we say lieutenant. I do think there is a pronunciation of lieutenant that is like lieutenant, or maybe that's a different word. But in this word, we have lieu of lieutenant. I do have a video for lieutenant, corporal, major, sergeant, some of the other army and military rank names. So after class, I'll put a link there for you to answer that. If I didn't answer your question adequately or correctly, leave me another comment in the chat and I will return to that. Okay, we have a question about why words like kids and friends have the Z sound at the end. So the rule for letter S when we're making a plural is that it's going to say the S sound when it goes on a word that ends with a voiceless sound like f or p or t or s. So if I'm saying I have some books, okay, as well. If I have books, ks, that K sound, k, doesn't have my voice on. So it would be odd to make it into a Z like kz. If our voice is already off for the sound at the end of the noun, then it stays off and we have a S sound. But if our voice is on, like in kid, or friend, then this S is a Z sound. The thing to know is that if I'm saying those kids, I'm not saying a strong Z. It's not kids. That would also sound strange. The Z sound, when it's tacked on at the end, is a little bit like a very light S, kids. Versus when I'm saying books, it's a strong sounding S. Those books, those kids. So that's the thing to know, is that if you're trying to say kids, it's going to be hard as well. You can use a very light short S for your Z here. It's just that when I'm linking to another word, if I'm saying those kids by itself, light S. If I'm saying my friends are coming, I don't want an S sound there, not friends are, but my friends are coming. That's where I'm going to have, it's going to be more clear that I'm using the voiced Z sound. Again, it doesn't have to be really strong. I don't have to say my friends are. So the Z sound at the ends of words for plurals and when it's in consonant clusters like this is going to be a lighter Z, not a strong sound. The S sound, when it comes, is going to be a stronger sound. So the rule is basically I use the Z when I have a vowel sound or a voiced consonant. So that's, for example, the D, the B, the G, the V, etc. And you can get more help for this in my video about how to pronounce plurals at the ends of words and how to pronounce the S sound at the ends of words. Also in our Sounds of English course, we go through this in detail, looking at letters versus sounds, why these rules happen. So that's a great question. After class, do come back and I'll put some links for you talking in more detail about plurals and S and Z sounds so that you can get more help with that. But thank you for that question. Very good. Okay. We have a question about some people, or comment that some people say lieutenant. Yeah, I think that might be British English. And in American English, we say lieutenant. We have a question about I've got versus I've have. Okay, so I've got. The question is, can we use I've got to mean I have? Yes, I've got a pen, I've got a board, I've got a job. And then next question, I've gotten, meaning I've obtained. So I've gotten some work. I've gotten you a sandwich. So the question was, can that mean I've obtained or I've brought? So yes, we can use that for brought, like I got you a sandwich. I've gotten you a sandwich. I've obtained that for you. I think that's more meaning obtained though than brought. Yeah, I got you a sandwich implies I brought it to you as well, but the real meaning is there in the obtained, not brought. I would say, especially for gotten, past tense, I got you something. I've got one. I've got one for you. Yeah, I would say this is probably really dependent on context. I have and I've obtained. Got clearly means that, but not so much with brought. Okay, and we have a question about how Americans drop the G sound for gonna. Okay, so the question is, if I'm saying going to, one way we say it is gonna rather than going to. There's a series of reductions that we do here. So I'm going to, I can say I'm going to. For example, let's use it with go. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. So first of all, we don't say the oo, it becomes a schwa. Then second of all, going to go can become going to go, going to go. So that T can become a flap. So you can correctly say I'm going to go, but you can hear how that doesn't sound very fluent or natural. So we don't really use that to. Then we might say going to go, or going to go. Then this can also get even further reduced to I'm gonna go. So we're dropping the NG sound, making just an N sound, dropping the T sound, and changing the oo sound to an sound. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna talk about that. That's how we naturally reduce that phrase going to in different steps. So you'll hear a mix of all of these different ways of saying going to, gonna, going to, etc. I talk about this in detail in my Real Talk videos. I have several for using the phrase going to, so you can check out our Real Talk playlist or our Real Talk course on speechmodification.com. It looks at all of those types of reductions and linking that native speakers do, and it's a great way to have some of those more advanced tips for American accent. That was a great question. Thank you so much. Okay. Nice to see so many of you here this morning. We have a question about the word huge being pronounced without the H. So you will hear some speakers of English use huge instead of huge, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's pretty specific to the New York accent. and a few other regional accents that sound kind of strongly accented to most listeners. So I would say, want to keep the H on huge. The place where we drop the H consistently across the American dialects is in words like her and him when we're connecting and reducing. For example, I don't say necessarily give it to him with a strong H. I can give it to him, but we can also say give it to him, give it to him, give it to him. Or also, for example, he, if I'm saying, is he busy? Going from the Z to the H, I don't necessarily say is he. I might say just is he. Is he busy? Where that H will drop off. But in huge, if I say it's huge, I'm going to sound accented, regional accent. So keep your H for huge and human, etc. Drop it on little words like her and him in certain contexts. You can get more help for where we do drop that H sound in my video for that. That's part of our Real Talk playlist and our Real Talk course. Great. And then we have a question about the word uncompanionable. Uncompanionable. So I'm wondering if that's actually correct or if it's incompanionable. But let's break it down from the different parts of the word. So we have companion within this word, and that's where the stress pattern is going to come from. And in companion, the stress is on the pan syllable with the a black cat vowel. So building from pan, we have the unstressed schwa before it. So that would sound like compan. And then our yun, companion, we have an E and an and an N, which basically companion, because of that E sound, we pretty much use that like a glide, like a y sound. So thinking about companion. And then when we go to able, companionable, another schwa, a b, and a syllabic L. Companion, those are going to be fast. Companionable. Finally, if we have the we might have a little bit of a secondary stress there and another schwa. So uncompanionable. But building from companion, uncompanionable, that's probably going to help you break down all those different syllables. Anytime we have a word with lots of syllables like this, I like starting on the stress syllable and building from it. Panionable, uncompanionable. Really helps you get the rhythm and where the clear vowels should be and the reduced vowels. The other strategy that I say is say it syllable by syllable. Try to keep the rhythm the same as how you say it when you say the full word, though. Rather than come, pan, yun, bull. That has its value for saying all of the sounds, but it's not going to help you put it together. Instead, if I say it as uncompanionable, I'm still kind of getting the rhythm of the word, then I can speed that up. Uncompanionable. That's how I would recommend practicing this word or any other longer words like that. Thank you for that request, or those requests. Okay, many things to catch up on here, many questions. Let's go ahead and take the next ones. We have a question about the phrase, is that? And this viewer says they're hearing people saying, is that? Which I think we do because going from the z to the th, is that is a little bit difficult. Is that. I recommend trying to keep that th there if you can. Is that yours? Because it's gonna be more correct. But is that yours? Is that yours? It's hard to hear the difference, really, if I say, is that yours or is that yours? As long as my rhythm is correct for this, you can get away with dropping that th, definitely. Is that yours? Is that yours? Yeah, and it may sound smoother and more natural to leave it out. Just don't hit that Z too hard. Not is that, is that yours, but is that yours. Yeah, definitely a reduction that we do. That's a good observation on your part. THs are difficult, and it's better to leave it out and be light and smooth and connected, as long as you're saying it the way you're hearing a native speaker say it. Sometimes these reductions create new problems where they don't sound natural, and then it's hard to understand what you're saying. So it's always a balance between fluency and getting that native sound. Play around with what's easiest for you in that context, definitely. Okay, we have a question or comment about I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Yeah, so I think you're talking about I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I do think sometimes in some fast speech, casual speech, rather than I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, we can reduce this. We can leave that G out. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. That's a good observation. I hadn't noticed that one before. That's, again, because go is what's important and stressed in this phrase. I'm gonna go. So if I say I'm gonna go, or I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. Both of them, we're gonna hear it as meaning the same thing. So this is definitely something that you can use as a reduction, just as long as it's really fast and go is stretched. You'll hear both of these from native speakers. Thank you. That's an interesting one. Okay. We have a question about the words oligarch and faux pas. I do have a video for oligarch, and I think you can either say oligarch or oligarch for that first vowel. What I'm going to do is refer you after class to my video about this so you can hear that word broken down with the two correct pronunciations. It's on my, I believe it's on my names playlist, but also I will put a link in the comments and description for this video for that one. And then for faux pas, I also think I have a video for this, so I'll give you the longer link. In faux pas, we stress more on the pa. Faux, we use the O diphthong in American English. So faux pas, we use the ah vowel there. So kind of thinking about it like faux pas. That's a faux pas. Again, you'll hear some slight differences between different speakers. Some people may be more close and more true to the French pronunciation when we have words that come in from French and other languages. And it's okay to use the full-on French or native pronunciation of loan words in English, but just also know that it's helpful to know the American pronunciation as well, so that if you're not understood when you're using more correct French or Italian or German or whatever it may be, that you want to know how that word is pronounced in English as well, because it may not be always exactly true to the original language. Okay, thank you for that request. We have a question about vertebrates and invertebrates. So vertebrates and invertebrates. So first, vertebrate, we have first syllable stress. We have that stressed sound there, ver. We use a flap for this T, so it sounds like ver. This letter A is a schwa, unstressed. And then also this is unstressed, even though it looks like 8, like as in a word educate, it's not vertebrate, but rather vertebrate, with a schwa or an I sound. I'll put it here as an I, vertebrate. Vertebrate or vertebrate. And then for invertebrate, you have secondary stress on the in, so just adding an in here. Vertebrate, invertebrate. Yes, good word for biology students. We have a question about Oh, and invertebrates with the S, it's an S sound at the end of that because the T is voiceless. So not a Z, but an S. Invertebrates, vertebrates. Okay. Combinations. This viewer is saying they're having trouble with A and N, or A and M, like ant and amber. So these A's are sounds like cat, but you notice if I say cat versus ant, my vowel may sound a little bit different because of the N or the M, amber, that it is the same vowel, but the context makes it sound a little bit different. So if I'm saying it's amber, I don't want to close down. I don't want it to sound like ember, that vowel, but it also might not sound the same as it does in a word like that. That's amber, amber. It's the same vowel, and you can try to use that or another word with to help you get that vowel there. Just know that you may hear some slight differences. The might be a little bit more nasal, and it might be a little bit more closed. Ant versus that I have time and openness to be able to make that vowel. I do have a number of videos talking about where the gets a little bit more nasalized when it's followed by these nasal sounds. So just, I would say, practicing maybe that open up for your and then close for the ant, that amber. Using an anchor word might help you with those vowel sounds. That's pretty normal, though, to notice that they sound a little bit different. Typically, when I'm doing the sound, the tip of my tongue is down and my mouth is more open, and the back of the tongue is lifted. But when I have to lift the tongue for the and, I might start with the tongue is a little bit more forward, and that makes the sound sound a little bit more nasal. Okay, great. We have a question about she's and he's, and more plus Anna. She's Anna. She's gonna go. No, I think going back to I'm gonna go versus I'm gonna go. That only works because the of I'm. If we're doing she's gonna go, she's gonna go. Then you don't hear that implied G sound. So for she's and she's gonna go, he's gonna go, you need the G of gonna. Okay, question about the word brutal. So in the word brutal, we have first syllable stress. The letter U says the oo sound. The T is going to be a flap, so it'll sound a little more like a D, thinking about the word brutal. And then the second syllable is short. It's going to be just our syllabic L. So brutal. So you kind of want to think about it like same as a word like poodle. The poodle is brutal. Very different spelling here, right? But the same sounds. The oo, the D, and then the syllabic L. Dull, dull. I'm going to move very quickly from the D to the ul sound. Almost no vowel there at all. Dark L. Same thing we have in words like little or Seattle, brutal, poodle. T-A-L, T-L-E, D-L-E all have the same sound. So I do have some videos helping you build that flap T plus syllabic L sound, but just knowing that that is what you want there rather than any sort of clear vowel. Not brutal, but brutal, brutal. The word can be a little bit brutal to take that pronunciation from that spelling. Great word. Thank you for that request. Okay, after class, I will be going through putting in some timestamps so you can see what we covered today. And again, when I mention other resources, I'll try to remember to put the links in there so you can follow up and get a little more detail. Oftentimes when you struggle with a word, there's other words that have that pattern, and it's useful to learn and practice that pattern, practice multiple words with it, so that not only will you feel comfortable saying words like brutal, but then when it goes to saying little, Seattle, or poodle, you can say those naturally and easily as well. Okay, we have a question about the word. I actually just write it because I don't know if you're asking me about the noun, conduct, or the verb, conduct, but they have different pronunciation. So these are a good example of syllable stress for nouns and verbs. A lot of times when we have a verb and a noun that have the same spelling, they'll have different pronunciation, and it's because of the stress. So in the noun, conduct, we have first syllable stress. It sounds like con with a clear ah vowel, and then our unstressed duct, conduct. I use a mix there. So conduct, let's write it like this. That's because in conduct, the letter O says ah because it's stressed. It's the important syllable. So you'll see it in the dictionary like this. Conduct. So his conduct was unacceptable. You need to have good conduct, etc. Versus, let's see how they conduct themselves, or I'm going to conduct the orchestra, has shorter, unstressed first syllable, and the duct is stressed, which means here the letter O is going to say the sound. Our stress is going to be on the duct. We're going to have, again, a schwa, but the will be longer in this word. So it sounds like conduct, like the word duck. So conduct yourself well. He conducts the team. My conduct needs to be very good. That was conduct unbecoming an officer. So lots of words like this, like have the clear vowel, and the typical pattern is first syllable stress for the noun and second syllable stress for the verb. I do have several videos talking about this in my intonation playlist, as well as a lot of videos for specific words like record and record, produce and produce. So it's a good pattern to recognize. You probably learn one version of the word that you use more, and then you may use that same pronunciation for both, which is incorrect. You need to be able to switch back and forth depending on whether you're using that word as a noun or as a verb. Thank you for that request. I hope that helps you and clears up any confusion you might have had on that word. Okay, we're gonna be wrapping up shortly. We're running out of time. We're a little past time today, but it's great to see so many of you here. Thank you for the wonderful questions. If you're watching this as a replay, you can also put your questions in the comments, and I'll return to those and give you some more help and information after the fact. Let's take our last question, and then we will wrap up for today. We have a question about the using words that have ing and then him or her, like bring him, bring her. This is a great question. So earlier we were talking about where you can and can't leave off the H sound. This is a place where I can say bring him or bring her using the H sound. I can also say bring him or bringer, like bring him some flowers, bring him with you, bring her a cookie, bring her to the store. So you might notice oftentimes when we link those, this is a place where we have a reduction in English and we drop that H sound. So it might be partly that if you have trouble saying bring him, it's hard to get that H in there or make that combination. If it's easier for you, you can say bring him with you. And people won't even notice that you aren't saying the H because that's just how we naturally reduce as we link those together in everyday speech. I do have a video and help for other examples of where you can leave that H off, like in him and her. So that's perhaps what's going on for you with that combination there. Okay, if I didn't get to all of your questions today, my apologies. Do go ahead and follow up with comments and questions. You can also attend next week's class. We also have a live class tomorrow, Sunday, for our channel members. So some of you have joined as channel members, and one of the perks we offer is an additional class like this one with a small group specific to your needs. The other advantage of channel membership is that channel members can ask their questions anytime throughout the week, and I cover them for them on Sundays, even if they can't make it to the live class. So it's a way to get your help a little bit faster, and also to get access to some of our additional perks. So I hope you'll consider joining as a member. Thanks so much to those of you who have subscribed as channel subscribers. That's a really wonderful way to support the channel. And all of the comments, likes, views, questions, sharing the videos, these are all things that really help support speech modification, and I'm very thankful for it. Thanks for a wonderful class today. Those were great questions, and I had a lot of fun seeing all of you here today. Looking forward to seeing you in tomorrow's Word of the Day, channel members in tomorrow's members class, and of course next week in our next live question and answer. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye everyone. Hope to see you again soon.